Okay, today's episode, as you may well guess, we're getting round to the engine side again after a couple of weeks. We are going to take off the mounting, the belt covers, and hopefully lock the engine up, get the rocker cover off, and we may be able to take the head off, but we might have to take it steady, and my pages are fluctuating by themselves. Now the most important diagram here that I need to be aware of is that I have to do the reverse of that tightening sequence to release the rocker cover itself. So the first thing we're going to do is that, and then we're going to tackle the timing belt side of things, locking the engine up. I've already got the wheel off, I've got the jack ready to support the engine, but we're just going to release the rocker cover as a first step. Right, first one to be released, they're all 8mm bolts. 15 over his side, not barely loose. 14, that wasn't even tight. 13, that was a bit tighter. 12 on this side, God, barely loose at all. A bit more tighter that time. Now you can hear that sound. If you caught that sound, it's just moving. The whole thing is just clicking out of place, which is why it's so important with these rocker covers to actually get it right. Nine, 8, 7, yeah, 6, yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, they are now all released, so I'm just going to whip all these out very gently and we'll get this off. Now this might be the point where it's a bit stuck on, so we're going to have to get a tool to actually pry it up. I might have to get the crowbar out, but if I could just gently prise it up, there we go, crack, off it goes. I've just literally got this little pry bar tool and just literally pried on the corner itself, and it's just gone. There we go. Now I've got a new rocker cover that's come, so I don't really care about its condition because it is visibly leaking at the bottom. Wow. Okay, we've had some rips there, so you can just about say that that's knackered. Okay. Right, as you can see, we've got some rips and tears in the rocker cover. And the backside just has ripped off. And as you can see, some of it is actually ripped off on the casing, which I've got to clean up quite a bit. But this is all going to be cleaned up anyway when the head this whole head comes off in a bit. But on first inspection it doesn't look too bad actually, it doesn't look that gunky, but nothing that a bit of carb cleaner won't sort out. It actually looks okay to me. All the cam lobes are nice and shiny, none are scored. Well, actually that one actually looks a little bit scored, but apart from that, I mean, that one's it's all right. I've seen worse, but it's okay. Right, kind of like stuck down. This is just remove that. There we go. Oops, some remnants have gone in. Yeah, I'm going to replace that. Okay, we've got the filter gauze there. Just needs a clean. I'll put this in the parts tray. This is going straight in the bin down there. There is one important thing to note. You must set the safe position at top dead center using the locking tool and the lines on the crankshaft pulley before releasing any of these bolts. You must make sure the timing is in the right position. You'd be basically get yourself in a whole world of trouble trying to release these bolts before you've done the timing. I don't think it's physically possible to turn the engine when those bolts are released, because essentially you've lost the actual connection between the top and the bottom of the engine. Right, So I think next job is to take this mount off. Next step is to just jack up on the sump, which is still dripping, but we've just moved the drain pan out of the way for the second, and we'll jack up on the bottom and then start taking the bolts out. Try and break this free. But it would help if I actually didn't tighten it. That's left it loose, it does come in handy. There we go, it's gone. Good half inch ratchet is what you need for this sort of job, and that is coming straight out. One bolt gone into the packet. You can remove that and just slide it up. What I mean by the proper tool is a 15 and a long impact. Remember to do these bolts first. Make sure you know it's going the right way as well. Won't even touch it. Is that the right size? Yeah, right. Got a better idea. This is the limitations, by the way, of small impact guns, just demonstrated. Not something I would normally show on camera because of how expensive it is. Not that you know where I live. But yeah, this cost a considerable amount of money. But it is one of the best. And it takes no prisoners, this Milwaukee. Come on. Straight off. Straight off. This is why professional mechanics own one of these. I actually bought this for timing belt change on my Focus. The only thing stopping me was getting that crankshaft bolt undone. And if you know anything about Fords, they are absolutely gunned to the maximum. And the only way of getting it off is a big air shotgun or one of these. And it took it off in seconds. So yeah, I mean, it is an expensive tool. It is what it is, but you get what you pay for, and that one is still not released. I suspect the whole thing is mounted off that, so we might see the engine drop just a bit. No, the jack's kept it up, that's good. Right, done. Right, now you know my secret tool for when things get short, but you can use a breaker bar. A breaker bar would have done that. A half-inch breaker bar, long extension going into the 15, it would crack it off easily. Leverage is your best friend, and impact guns are not always the best thing for the job. Now the next bolts are two bolts that hold the mount on. I think I can get to it with my impact. I certainly can. That's one out. And the other one, if I can just about sneak in. Can it? This might be a tight squeeze actually. Back a second, just feed it in. Nope, can't fit it. Right, I'm gonna have to get a smaller size 3/8 extension and 3/8 socket, because there's not enough room. Yeah, just about enough. Half inches, don't always get in. Oh dearie me, this is going to take some strength. God, that is tight. That is very tight. Excuse me a second, I might have to use extra lube. Right, use an adapter to use my half-inch butt breaker, and I think we're going to need some penetrating fluid. I should have done that in the first place. Right, what I've decided to do is take this sway bar out completely, because that's what's actually stopping me. So I'm going to take out the whole thing with this 15mm bolt, which is just about going to come. Yeah, that's gone. Old ratchet spanner. Yeah, I'm going to have to take out without hitting my face. I wasn't expecting quite such a jump. So turn that out of the way and then we can remove the bolt. It says, no. Again, it's one of these things, you can't remove the bolt, I have to remove the actual power steering fluid reservoir bracket. One of these stupid little jobs that starts escalating. Because you can't get to one bolt, you have to remove another bolt, and then to get to that bolt, you have to remove another bolt. It's typical, isn't it? It's ever straightforward. Okay, this one. So, this little bracket here. And to be fair, some of this can actually be cleaned up. I'm not going to say no, because I always like cleaning stuff up, but you just got to keep an eye on where I'm putting the bolts, because my organisation in there, as you may have seen from another video, is a bit less organised. But I know what I've taken off the car, and I know what I need to put back on. Right, now we can get that bolt out. There you go. Now I'm going to put that bolt somewhere else, and we take this bush out. Okay, this sway bar bush. Lovely. So I'll just put that over there. That's all clear. Now I've got a clear shot at goal. I have it on the maximum setting here because this is tight. And that is as simple as it gets. That was on the maximum setting and it still put up a fight. You bastard. I can tell because the thread's really rusted, so I'm going to give that a clean up with a wire brush. All done though. I'll show you what I've done. Okay, so that was the bolt that was causing a problem. I couldn't get to that down there. That was easy. As I say, it's up here now. Sway bar removed from there, power steering moved completely out the way. That might actually be handy to move the whole thing, but I probably won't. But now should be able to move the whole thing. He says, is it pivoted from below? That looks like it's stuck on. Okay, we'll move that in a second. I'm going to take out that bolt. Right, this bolt is an 18mm bolt. And it comes straight out. Right, I've moved the bracket out the way. I've realised why it's stuck. There's another bolt at the bottom that I didn't see that one, so that's why. I would like this removed just to give me better access. It is a 13mm bolt at the bottom, so I just got to sort of reach into it as such. Nope, that's tightening, Andrew. You need to release it. Gone. Gone. Let's put up a fight. Check that washer. That's made with a WD-40, but this is a hydro mount, and I've got to be honest with you, it's got Rover stamped on it. But if you look at it, right, there's no cracks at all. Bit of a mark there, but that's it. That's amazing. Now I'm going to put that somewhere safe and put that bolt back in there so I know where it is. Right, well, the crankshaft wheel is a little bit rusty on the surface, but I'm going to take out a couple of these mounting bolts. I think there's 3 of them, but we'll find more as we're going along. I have got a manual there, but I'm not referring to it entirely apart from the important bits. Just reach into that. A lot that was. A lot of talk. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get a longer socket because that's not really working. This is the stage where you start thinking, where the hell have I put that socket? It's here as well. No, it's not. It's not the right one. Is it? No. It's not. What have I done with that socket? Oh yes, it's on here. And then you remember it's still on the breaker bar you put down 5 seconds later. They do say when you're working on cars, like, you spend more time looking for your tools than you actually do with actually working on the thing. And that's absolutely 100% true. You just sort of put it down thinking, oh, God, again, it's like really tight. Right, you want them to be tight because your engine will drop, otherwise these are not tight. Let me know how the whole engine's moving. Right, I'll get a better solution than that. Right. Just about fit. I don't know about the bottom one because I haven't got much clearance. There we go, done. Now when it cracks, it is really, really tight. Okay, good. Right, now I think I'll be able to whip the rest of them off now. I thought it'd be best to set up the tripod today because I haven't really used the tripod a lot with work on cars. It's not really the way I found it easiest to actually film, but you know, you guys try new things, I suppose. Here's YouTube, trying to be expansive and try new techniques, and it kind of is working for me. And this is a sort of job where you can leave the tripod and take it off when you need it. Missing all sorts of bolts I am recently. Once you know how it goes together though, it's like clockwork. I did have to jack up the engine with that lower bolt because there was just no way of getting it out between that and the chassis rail. There's actually very little room on this car to do that. No. There we go. Done. All 4 out. Should. What is holding that on? Is there another bolt at the back? Okay, well, I've released that. Not really doing this in the order of the manual, but as I say, we've now got better access, so I think we should get some of those timing bolts removed, the cover bolts. Turns out there's only one extra bolt holding the top cover on. You've just got to get the pegs out and off we go. I believe that's what needs to happen in order for the cover to free itself. Oh, that's a bit stuck. There we go. Whew. I'll just put that on there. Right, so here we have it. Timing belt looks in really good condition. I mean, I can try and twist the belt. It's actually very taut indeed. I'm sure how this bracket comes off, whether it does come off, because the bolts holding it have gone. Maybe it's just stuck on. There is evidence, if you look at that camshaft seal there and look at that one, there is possible evidence of an oil leak from one of them, but they are easy to change. That'll be added to the list, but it could be the rocker cover, because coincidentally this is the bit where it's actually been leaking. It could have actually leaked down the back, and do you know what, I suspect it actually has. Yeah, I think that's kind of how it's happened. I don't think it's a seal at all in that respect. What we're going to do now is lock the engine up. We're going to turn it over and lock it up so we get the timing lined up. Something I forgot to do actually, I've got to whip out the spark plugs. Quite interesting. There we go. Oh. That was suspiciously easy. That was very easy. Good grief. What's going on? stuck on the actual socket. Read. Next one. Exactly the same. It's just ridiculously loose. You know, that bit where it actually comes off the extension instead of actually coming off the plug. Yeah. I'll just have to take the plug off. That looks like, sorry, one direction. That looks actually like a good plug to me. Decent burn. Number 4 one here. Oh God, it's exactly the same. Exactly the same. Very, very easy. Too easy. This will allow us to turn the engine over far more easier by hand. Always have the plugs out. Just don't make life easy for yourself and for the engine. Oh, okay, interesting. Bit of coolant there possibly. No, it's rusty. Okay, that was number 4. Yep, again, the same. Not the same, I mean, when I say the same, I mean good burn. You're burning fuel correctly. It's just the number 4 looks like it was a bit rusty, like evidence of coolant. Again, this one, absolutely fine, good burn. Come on camera, pick it up. Evidence of good burning. Right, the issue I've got is I can barely see where the timing mark is. I think, oh sorry, my finger's in the way again. I think it's here. Can you see that little notch there? There you go. That has to line up with the notch on the timing belt cover around the corner. I can't get my camera in there, but you get the picture. I've got to turn it to it actually faces there, but I'm going to give that a bit of a wire brush now so I can see it more clearly. Maybe a bit of a paintbrush mark as well. Right, now I've made a little mark. I can just turn the engine. No, I can't. Oh, it's just gone. Right, I'll see if I can get that lined up off camera. Remember, we have to get these marks to line up, these red marks. Just a little bit. Oh, for God's sake. Why won't you move? No! Backwards. Oh, damn it. I'll keep going until I actually get this right. Right. I managed to get them lined up exactly. Remember, the red marks, well, I think they've been painted before, but in exhaust, not in and in, because when you tighten it back up, you can actually get it 360 degrees out. I've known people to do that and say, why doesn't the engine not start? Down here, I don't know if you can see, that mark actually lines up with another mark on the back of the timing cover. I'm actually going to keep the camera there and shove a light under. Can't actually see now. Oh, there you go. Can you see the white mark lines up with the red paint? Someone's done that really nicely for me. Okay, that engine is now timed, and I can now slot in the locking tool. Okay, so just to put the locking tool, it's a Draper Tools one, which gives me a bit of confidence. It's only about £6. You can, if you can get them cheaper. There we go. There we go. That is now locked. Now the next thing is to get this crankshaft bolt undone. Now Obviously this is an automatic, I can't put it in gear, and some people say, oh, you could lock the flywheel. Well, I could, but then I'd have to take the starter motor out. It's too much of a faff. I have the gun here that I actually bought for my Focus for this very job, in fact, and it took it off in seconds. However, every car is different. I'm not taking chances of this because this has been done 8 years ago before. I am going to get my hot air gun, which is sitting in there, and I am literally not a blowtorch, because this is a damper, it's got a rubber part in it, just a heat gun to get at that bolt. If you are as lucky as Matt of Furious Driving and you have a heat induction tool from Draper, use that. It only heats the bolt up. They're wicked tools, but I have this instead, which I think is pretty amazing as well. So we're going to heat up this bolt before we do anything. Okay, so heat. The battery on this will only last, it's a 2 amp hour battery, will probably only last probably for the time I need it. So I'm going to cut the camera now to save the board. And right, that's still burning up down there, so I won't touch that. Now I'm just going to show you this. Now you see those 2 dots up there on those 2 wheels, they should line with that middle center on the oil pump perfectly, like mine. Perfect timing. It has now ready to come off. I'm going to get the lower cover off. It's just a couple of bolts like that one, and we'll whack it off, and we're going to have a bit of a clean up. Got that bolt out, but there's a bolt just there. What a joke. So I've got to take the tension off, presumably. How the hell are you supposed to get at that bolt? What a bad design feature that is. This is going to take some time. This is just to highlight precisely what I'm doing. It's like an 1/8 of a turn. I can hear the ratchet clicking, but oh my god, it's going to take me like the rest of eternity. And at last the bugger's come out. In fact, I can take this cover off now. Yeah. Well, he says he can take the cover off, and he has. There you go. That's the line you do your time into. Okay, so we have the water pump behind it. This is all going to need a bit of a clean up, and we're going to start very soon. But this is as far as we go today. We've done an awful lot of work, so I'm going to cover this up and have something to eat. What a job. Before you go, guys, that is still warm. But look at that. Not a sign of Loctite whatsoever. So whoever did that timing belt change in 2014, it was definitely a garage with a big fat air gun. I mean, Milwaukee did struggle at first, but it got it off. But any other gun would not have done. This is quite warm as well. Now the trick to note is we take the washer out. See this rubber? This is part of the harmonic damper. It's just starting to crack. So ideally, next timing belt change, if the car's around, which I hope it will be, I'll make sure it will be, this might have to be replaced. I will put some silicone on that to make it supple, but it's not too bad at all. It's just starting to crack, as they all do with age. But then again, I bet there's worse and they're still functioning. That's going to be cleaned up along with these. Right, see you soon, guys. Take care.